Anytime soon, this is the best video to watch, especially if you're doing grade 12 calculus. So in the calculus section, the first question you will encounter is this one, where they ask you to find the first derivative using first principle. That is normally easy, and I've done videos of that. My focus on today's video is differentiation rule, specifically the power rule, because that is the only rule that you're going to use in order for you to derive or to find the first derivative in grade 12. So the first rule is actually easy, but first, before I get into that, let me just explain to you the different notations they can give you when they ask you to find the first derivative. So when they ask you to find or determine this, these are all notations. These all mean the same thing. It just means derive for x. For example, d over dx means derive with respect to x. F of x, obviously derive the function, meaning all the terms that have x in them, you must derive them using the power rule. dy over dx means derive for y with respect to x. It means the same thing as these. d over x, that just means derive for x. d over dt, that means derive with respect to t, meaning you're going to derive each and every term that have x, t, because that's the variable they use there. So deriving is actually easy. So what is the difficult part? Well, there is no difficult part, because I'm just going to explain to you what the power rule is, and then you're going to tell me if there's difficult or not. So the power rule is essentially a rule that you use in order for you to derive. Now, with variables, it looks a bit confusing, but I'll explain it using numbers as well so you can see it. So the power rule is basically this. You're going to have x, we're deriving with respect to x, right? So x is our variable. Our variable has a power. So we're supposed to take that power and multiply with the coefficient of x and then decrease the power by 1. So it would look like this. So n multiplied by 1, which is n, and then x, right? There's the n, and we decrease n by 1. It looks a bit confusing with variables. Let me show you with numbers how it actually looks like. So this is a function. This is a normal function they gave you, right? So they ask you to find the first derivative, or f prime, as some would say it. So f prime would be only when you take the power, multiply with the coefficient, which will give you 6, because 3 multiplied by 2 gives you 6, and then you decrease the power by 1, and that's going to give us x to the power of 2. That is the power rule. The most simplest rule ever, right? Now let me show you an example of it. So here, let's say find f prime if f of x is equal to this. Now we have to find f prime using that. How do we find f prime? The power rule. Very easy. So we go to the function. So f prime would be, we go to the function 3 multiplied by 3, that will give us 9x, decrease the 3 by 1, that gives us 2. You get it? And then you do the same thing for the following term, right? So we have 2 multiplied by negative 4, so that's going to be negative 8x, and then we decrease the power by 1, so there will just be x to the power of 1, right? Plus, remember there's a 1 there, so it's going to be 1 multiplied by 4, that will just give us 4x, and then we decrease the power by 1, that's x to the power of 0, minus, remember what I said in the beginning, if you were listening, I said d over dx means you're deriving each and every term that have what? X. The same as this, we're deriving each and every term that have x. So does the 10 have x? No. So that just becomes minus 0. What does that mean? The derivative of any constant is always going to be 0. If it was a plus here, it would have been plus 0. It's a minus. That's why I'm saying minus 0. So let's just clean this up. We're already done deriving. That's deriving. So we're just cleaning it up. So f prime would be 9x squared minus 8x plus 4. You're probably thinking, what happened to the x? Remember, x to the power of 0 or anything to the power of 0 will always equate to 1. So that's the same as 4 multiplied by 1, which is just 4. That's it. It can't be difficult. You're probably asking yourself, well, the power rule is easy. But yeah, the examiners know it's easy. So that's why they will give you expressions that are very complicated to deal with, and I can promise you this, they are not complicated. You just have to understand what's happening, and in this video I'll explain each and everything. So what you just saw now were stumbling blocks, meaning things that prevent you from using the power rule, right? The power rule I just explained to you, it's easy to understand, you got it. So now these are stumbling blocks, meaning you cannot derive when your x is in the denominator. 2, you cannot derive when your x is in a surd. You must undo the surd. And then 3, if you have to factorize, or if you have given a fraction that is not simplified, meaning you have to simplify it first. As you can see here, this is the difference of 2 squares. And then when you factorize this, the factors of those will cancel out with 1 with the denominator, right? But I'm going to show you. So we have a question like that, which is that one there. I'll show you how to do that one. So this example you're looking at is the same as that one. It's just that that's a trinomial and you're looking at a binomial, but you do it the same way. So we're going to do the questions together. By the end of this video, you should be fully prepared for your exam. So we're going to start with the first one. What do you notice? Well, there's a stumbling block. Why? Because my x is in a surd. My x is not supposed to be there. As I told you, that's one of the stumbling blocks, which is that one. Where else can I see a stumbling block? Here. Where's my x? My x is in a denominator of a fraction. It's not supposed to be there. As you can see, that's the first stumbling block that I wrote down. And then this one, what's wrong with this one? Well, there's no stumbling block, but there is a trick to this one. We'll get to it. So the first thing you have to do is you have to undo your surd, right? So we have to undo the surd first. So how do we undo a surd? Remember, in exponential laws, if you have a surd, like if you have a power on the inside and then you have that there on the outside, so when you undo this surd, this base of a, that power will go to the numerator, and then the number was on the outside will be the denominator of your exponent. So when we write this power is on the inside, that one is on the outside, so it would look like this. So we're going to have 4 over 5, right? We just undid the surd. And then what's happening here, we have our x in the denominator. Remember, according to the laws of exponent, if you have something like this, let's say you had a negative power, right? So you wrote it as a positive power by saying 1 over, and then you have written that variable with a positive exponent, meaning we want to go from this to that, meaning we don't want our variable to be in the denominator, so we're going to take it up. But notice here we have a fraction, so if we take up this x to the power of 2, the 2 is going to be negative, so we're going to have 2 over 5 x to the power of negative 2. Remember, the x is no longer in a denominator, so we took it up, so it's going to be x, but then the power is going to be negative. As I said, with this one, there's nothing wrong with it. We can actually derive this one, right? So now it's simplified. Now we can actually derive it. So therefore dx, and then we derive it, and then there will be 4 over 5 multiplied by 1, so that will just give us 4 over 5. And then we have x, and then what do? We decrease it by 1. So if we decrease that by 1, it becomes negative 1 over 5, right? We just derived that one. We go to the next term, so it's a minus, right? But notice, it's negative 2 multiplied by a negative. So a negative and a negative will give us a positive, right? And then 2 multiplied by 2 over 5, that will just give us positive 4 over 5. And then we have x, and then we decrease that by 1. So if you decrease that by 1, it becomes negative 3. A common mistake students normally do, they would have said that is negative 1. But remember, if we decrease, it becomes more negative, not more positive. So that becomes that. And then here we have 1. So another common mistake students do here, remember we're deriving each and every term that have x, right? Meaning we multiply the power of x and not the power of any other variable. So the trick here is most students would have taken this 4 and multiplied with the 8, and that would be wrong. You multiply the power of your variable that you are deriving with respect to, which in our case, it is 1, or it is x. So x has a power of 1, so it's going to be 1 multiplied by 8, which is just 8 t to the power of 4 x 1, decreased by 1. That gives us 1, so it's going to be x to the power of 0. And then anything to the power of 0 is 1, so it's going to be 8 multiplied by 1, which is just that there. So unless they tell you to leave everything in a positive exponent, that's when you apply the laws of exponents. But here, you're done deriving it. Easy, right? So we try the following one. Well, we're not going to go in order. I want to try this one, right? Since this one might be a little bit daunting for people, I want to show you it's actually easy. What do you notice here? Well, this is a trinomial at the top, and then we have this. Can we derive? No, we can't. This is what the examiner wants. They want us stuck, but I can show you what you actually have to do. Because you notice that's a stumbling block and you can't derive. Notice? In a fraction, they are not fully simplified. So that means that fraction, what we see, is not fully simplified. So what we have to do is to factorize the top part. So can we factorize this? So factorizing this should be easy. So we're going to open up our 2 brackets. So at the bottom we have this. So one of these factors will cancel out with this. That's how it's set up, right? So if your factorization is correct, one of them will cancel out with this here. So we have factorizing that trinomial. So how do we get the first term, which is x squared? Well, that is just x and x. The last term is negative. So in the bracket, we can have a positive and a negative. We want two numbers. When we multiply them, they give us negative 10. Those same two numbers, when we add them, they give us negative 3. What are those two numbers? So let's ask ourselves, what makes 10? It's 2 multiplied by 5, right? So 2 multiplied by 5. So if we have 2 here and we have 5 here, we're going to get 10. And then we have 2 plus negative 5, we get negative 3. So now, what do you notice? Well, I notice these two look the same. So what do? These two cancel out. So that was the stumbling block. But remember, we haven't derived, right? We were just simplifying. That's what you can have, or you can get rid of the brackets. It doesn't actually matter. But we haven't derived this whole time. We were asked to derive for x. Now is when you derive. So now we can say dx will be equal to, there's a power of 1, right? So 1 multiplied by 1 is just 1. X decreased by 1, x to the power 0, minus, that one doesn't have what? X, so it becomes 0. So for every constant, just know the derivative is 0. So that one, x to the power 0, is the same as 1. So the answer will be 1 multiplied by 1, which is therefore dx is equal to 1. Easy, right? So the next one, we have this one here. So what's the obstacle here? This looks okay, but no, it's not simplified. You cannot derive if you have brackets. So this thing is not simplified, right? Notice we only derived when things were simplified, meaning we had each and every term isolated. Here, these terms are not isolated as there's a bracket there, so we must get rid of the bracket by using FOIL. So we're going to multiply that one in. So y is going to be equal to this multiplied by that will be 4x cubed, right? And then minus 2x to the power of 1, because that's going to be, the bases will be the same. So it's going to be 2 plus minus 1. That's just going to give us that. Now, can you derive it? Yes, because now it is simplified. And then we're going to use that notation because that's the given notation to us. So therefore, dy over dx will be equal to 3 multiplied by 4. That's going to give us 12x. Decrease the 3 by 1. That's going to give us 2, right? And then minus 1 multiplied by that. That's just going to give us 2. And then we're going to decrease by 1. You know the drill already as we've been doing it, so you are familiar with it. So by this time of the video, I'm sure you get the idea of what deriving is, right? I can already tell you these two are already okay. Where's the obstacle? It's this one there. Do you know what you're supposed to do? Remember, your x cannot be in the denominator. The x must go up. So try deriving this and then continue the video when you're done. So if you're still a bit uncomfortable, it's okay. We'll do it together. So the first thing we have to do is to rewrite everything in a simplified manner. These two are already simplified, so we just rewrite them just as they are, as there's nothing wrong with them. But this one, the x is in the denominator, it must go up. So that's going to be 2 to the power of x minus 2, because if that variable goes up, the power changes, right? Is this simplified? Yes. Now we can do what? Now we can derive. So therefore we can say dy over dx is equals to 2 multiplied by 4. That gives us 8x decreased by 1 minus 5 multiplied by 3. That's going to give us 15x decreased by 1, just like that. And then negative 2 multiplied by negative 2, that's going to give us negative 4x, and then decreased by 1, so that's going to give us negative 3, right? And that's what differentiation is all about. It's about the power rule. So if you can understand that, which is the easiest to understand, by the way, the only thing you have to worry about is knowing what to do if you have stumbling blocks. And for your interest, all these questions that you see here were taken from past question papers. It's only this one that came from an investigation, I think, because I have an investigation question, and then some student also asked me to do one question where I got this question from. But this is an examinable question, meaning you're going to get something similar to this if not something similar to that, if not that, if not that. It's not an if or but, you will get this right. So if this video was helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and leave a like and maybe a comment of what topic you would want me to cover next. So hope this one was helpful. See you on the next one.